and this is my persuasive speech, and this is my audience.
Hi, I'm Karen Doris.
I'm Jim Willis.
Sally Willis.
Jonathan Fowler.
Kevin Fowler.
Maria Fowler.
I'm Jordan.
All right. Well, as the rhyme of the ancient mariner said, water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. And that was penned over 200 years ago, but it's still true, and even on a rainy day like this, you don't want to be drinking those puddles. So fresh clean water is important to all life, plant, animal, and human, but it's only a small portion of the water on Earth, and as the population of the Earth grows, we start to run into conflicts over that small amount of water. As Americans, being privileged and all, we take for granted that there's going to be a plentiful, clean supply of water that's cheap and it's always there. But it's easy to forget that in other countries, shortages of water can start wars and financial conflicts too. You don't want to go to Texas and start fighting over Red River water. Yeah, so recent droughts in Texas and California have driven home to Americans that water isn't just something that can be taken for granted. It's subjected millions of Americans to extreme drought and rationing measures. So, yeah, in the midst of the drought and all that, water prices are still low. If you think about it, why is it that bottled water is considered cheap if it's 50 cents a gallon, but if you're paying even 1 cent a gallon for tap water, it's just an outrage. I know I'm making people angry now, but so clean, fresh water, it's important and it's increasingly rare, so we should be prepared to pay for higher rates for it in the future by promoting the efficiency and conservation today, so we'll be prepared when it does go up. And as the example in Flint, Michigan recently illustrates, we should also avoid contaminating the sources that we have because they could end up costing even more in the future, trying to clean it up. Current water rates, they don't reflect the scarcity of water. They really just reflect how much money it takes to clean what's there. So it's actually been very cheap for a long time. According to an article in the Arizona Republic, and they should know about water rationing, Tulsa's combined water and sewer rate, in 2013 it was $66.60 for 7,500 gallons, and that was the 19th lowest of the 50 largest cities in America. To give that some context, Atlanta's water rate, they are the most expensive, is $194.42. compared to our $66. And water rates are increasing, and they're likely to continue to increase. According to the city of Tulsa, the current rate is $73.40. So that's gone up 10% in 3 years. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the inflation rate over the same period was about 2%. So 10% is quite a bit compared to that. Another reason why water rates might be going up, and will almost certainly be going up, some estimates predict that over the next 20 years, the U.S. will spend close to $1 trillion on upgrading our aging water infrastructure, like treatment plants and pipes and all that. This was according to an article in Circle of Blue, which is a water utility think tank. I know. Think tank, it's funny for a water utility. Now, as for my claim that water is scarce, got a little more academic sources for that. Several academic papers, including these two that I was looking at by Stewart and Allen, and then another one by Scanlon et al., they show that the Ogallala Aquifer, which they refer to as the High Plains Aquifer, our water extraction from it peaked in 2006, and it's only going down from there. And they estimate that parts of it, especially the southern part that affects Oklahomans, could be depleted within 30 years. And a lot of agriculture, like especially grain agriculture, depends on irrigation from that aquifer, so that could cause a serious food crisis when that happens. So what would happen if the water rates reflected the true costs and scarcity of the water? Would they become totally unreasonable and unbearable? I don't think so, because the cost of clean water is justified considering the harm that the lack of clean water can do, a financial and human life cost. As I said earlier, historically wars have been fought over water access, and even in the last few decades, Turkey had some serious conflicts with Syria and Iraq a couple of decades ago because they started building dams on the Tigris and Euphrates rivers that they depended on for water. The Israelis and Palestinians, I know they're famous for fighting over everything, but a lot of what they fight over is water rights too, not just religion, because there's not enough water in the region. And of course, as I alluded to, Okies and Texans, we sue each other, we don't fight. But yeah, there was a recent lawsuit that went all the way to the Supreme Court over rights to the Red River. And another thing I alluded to, subpar drinking water causes costly health issues, as they're finding out in Flint, Michigan. That governor guy proposed a plan recently just to start addressing the clean water issues. He proposed a $232 million plan. And it's important to remember they started getting their water from that polluted Flint River trying to save money. And so that didn't work out. It's going to cost a lot more. And more than just money, it's in children's lives too. That was according to an article in the Wall Street Journal. So far I've laid out the case that water rates are going to rise and that there are good reasons why water might be more expensive and might be worth the cost. Now I'm going to take it a step further and step on even more toes. Raising water prices could be a good thing because it'll promote efficiency and conservation that we're currently lacking and has led to a lot of the water problems we've had. So I actually support raising the prices. For one thing, it'll make a greater incentive for cities and municipalities to find and fix water leaks. An economics professor at UC Irvine in California, Richard McKenzie, estimated that 228 billion gallons per year are lost in California's water systems, but they, at the very low rates, considering the catastrophic drought they're having, it's not economically feasible to find and fix those. So they're just going to let it keep happening. He also estimated that if water rates increased to just like 5 cents a gallon, that it would go from, he was estimating for his own household, upgrading his toilets to half flush. But, I mean, it would only cost $90 to upgrade his toilets, but he estimated it would cost, to recoup the cost for that, it would take 7 years at current water rates. And if they raised it to just 5 cents a gallon, it would take 6 months. So I realize no one wants to pay more money for a product that appears to be the same as what it was before. But the truth is that the clean, abundant fresh water that we enjoy is a bargain and has been for a long time. And even if the price increases, it will still be a bargain. As water becomes more scarce and as the infrastructure ages, the same product probably will cost more money if we want it to get the same quality. And we don't want to let politicians and bureaucrats tell us that we need to cut corners to save costs, or else we could end up like the people in Flint, Michigan. They're paying the cost of something more valuable than money now, and so we should consider whether or not it's worth it to spend more money on a product as important as clean water. So that's my speech. Thank you for listening.